Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am your famous, friendly, family favorite fantasy football guy. And today I'm just going to break down some of the matchups here for the Sunday slate, the 12-game slate. It's the classic. I'm super excited about it because we've been doing the showdowns. We had a Thursday night showdown. We had a Friday night showdown. Both of those were fun and they were good games. But I prefer the classic. That's just what I like. So just looking, and we'll look at the millionaire contest. I'm going to break down these quarterbacks. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can. I apologize. I'm getting it out so late, and I don't really have a whole lot of time to edit it, so I'm not going to edit it. So hopefully you'll still like what you hear, and hopefully this can help you guys out as well. If you have any last minute lineups that you want to hand build. Yeah, so let's get started. So I'm looking at the quarterbacks right off the bat, starting with Jaden Daniels. I don't love his position here, mainly for pass reasons. And honestly, looking back at what he did last year against the Giants, he didn't do as well as I would have liked him to. I mean, he did okay, but not near as good as some of these other games that he played, because he can really play. He is a great quarterback. But looking at what he did against New York in week 9, he got 19.86 points. So that one was okay. But the week 2 game, he only got 13.44 points. If you're wanting to win in this 12-game matchup, you're probably not going to win with a quarterback that's getting 14 points. I don't love necessarily the matchup. They were ranked 19th against the quarterback, so that's pretty okay, but they were ranked 9th against the pass, so that's the part that I don't love as much. They were ranked 26th against the rush. That's the part that I do like, because Jaden Daniels can run like crazy, and he apparently bulked up over the offseason. I don't know what that looks like for him, because he wasn't really a big guy, in my opinion, to begin with. But he can certainly run the football, and if they're bad against that rush, then that's a weak spot. I just don't completely love his spot here. But looking at Joe Burrow, he last year when they played Cleveland, he got 14.94 points. Not really going to win your lineup. The first game they played, my apologies, that might have been the first game. That was the first game. The second game they played, he got 22.98 points. So he did better in that game. And you could probably get by having a quarterback with that in a winning bracket. Ideally, you're probably going to want more than that from him. But we always want more fantasy points, right? His matchup, however, 18th against the quarterback position, Cleveland was. Let's see, 21st against the rush, 14th against the pass. So it's an okay spot, and he's Joe Burrow, and he's got weapons all around him, so that's why I think he can do good. Now, as far as matchup goes, the matchup that I really like in this is Baker Mayfield at Atlanta. He averaged 23.2 points a game last year, and when he played Atlanta, he got 27.3 points in week 8. And when they played in week 5, he got 23.4 points. So he did great in both of those games. Or pretty decent. He did great in the second game, I would say. He did pretty decent in the first game. But the matchup on paper, Atlanta is ranked 30th against the quarterback 24th against the pass, 15th against the rush. But Baker Mayfield, he can play football. I think he has proven that he can play football at a high level. And he's got guys to throw to. He's got Mike Evans. And Ibuka. He's in there right now. He's filling in because Chris Goddard is out right now. He's hurt, but he's got Ibuka, and I think that's all he really needs, to be honest with you. So he's got weapons around him. Just scrolling through, looking at some other guys here that could be potentially good. Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is set up in a good spot. He only did okay against Detroit last year. 14.54 points in Week 14. 11.92 points in Week 9. And Detroit ranks 26. They ranked 26th against the quarterback. They ranked 31st against the pass and 6th against the rush. So on paper, Jordan Love looks fantastic here. I'm not completely confident in him in this game, but that's just because he only averages about 15.9 fantasy points a game. So he's not. I'm not completely confident in him, but I like the matchup. Now, Tua Tagovailoa, he averages a little better. He averages 18.4 points per game, and his matchup looks pretty solid against the Colts. They're 24th against the quarterback. Again, this is all I say they're ranked that. That was last year's stats, but that's what we have to go off of right now. And they were ranked 26th against the pass, 23rd against the run. So I expect Miami's offense to really kind of dominate this game. And I think that Tua could be a good option for you. I really do. In fact, I think I like him better than most of the other quarterbacks I've talked about, except maybe for Baker Mayfield thus far. Continuing on, I like Bryce Young here. I think he looks good in this spot. Let's see. Jaguars ranked 29th against the quarterback and 32nd against the pass. So Bryce Young only averaged 14.7 points, fantasy points a game last year, but I think he could do better this year, and I think this would be a good game for him to get started with that. I think that he could do better in this first game, to be honest with you. I think he could get some points. I really like, and I think I might even play in my as my quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. He had that one game last year towards the end of the season. He got 28.98 points against Carolina. And Tampa Bay is going to come out Baker Mayfield is going to be throwing the ball down the field. And they're going to have to come back at that. So I think Michael Penix Jr., I think he can rise to the occasion. Tampa Bay was 28th against the quarterback and 30th against the pass. Now, they were good against the run. They were against the rush. They were third. So I think if the Falcons want to stay in this game, they're probably going to have to pass a lot. And I think Michael Penix Jr. can get things done. Was going to break down Drake May. I think I'm going to skip him because I have no desire to play him. Trevor Lawrence, I think his matchup, I don't totally love Trevor Lawrence. He has had some good games for sure. But I do like his matchup here, actually. See, Carolina was ranked 31st against the quarterback last year, 32nd against the rush, and 25th against the pass. So they could hit him from every which way. And I think they will if Etienne can run against these guys, then that would take the pressure off of Lawrence to pass as much. But I think that they're still probably going to. I think he's probably going to pass more. Etienne, I'm not sure where I stand on him right now. I'm not fully confident in Etienne, but on paper he's got a great matchup. Last quarterback I want to look at. On a cheaper end, he's only $4,900 for his salary, is Joe Flacco. And trust me, I'm a Broncos fan. He played for the Broncos and really disappointed me when he played for them. Thankfully, it wasn't long, but I do think he can play quarterback. That might have just been him trying to mesh with the Broncos. Who weren't doing so well to begin with. But in Cleveland, they're playing against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, from my understanding, did terrible in the preseason. Even their starters, I heard, did really bad in the preseason against backup. So I think Joe Flacco, a veteran who's been in the league for a long time, he knows football. He can probably break them apart in this game. So I expect, and on the other side you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all these guys, T. Higgins. So he's gonna have to throw the ball to stay in this game. The Bengals ranked 27th last year against the quarterback, 22nd against the pass, 19th against the rush. I think Joe Flacco could cause some damage in this game. So if you're looking for a cheap option, he might be your guy. Now I'm going to move on from there. I'm going to look at running backs. They got Bijan Robinson on top. I'm not even going to look at him because I can tell I'm not going to like the matchup. Jahmyr Gibbs. I didn't love the matchup here either. Green Bay was ranked 19th against the running back. That's the part that I do like, but they were ranked 8th against the pass, 7th against the rush. The main part here that I like about Jahmyr Gibbs is that he's just an absolute workhorse and he can get it done. And when they need to rely on somebody, they rely on him. They've proven that. But they do have other playmakers. And David Montgomery, I played him a lot last year and was still doing good in my lineups using David Montgomery as well. They can both just break off runs at any given moment. The one running back I really am excited to play, but it's kind of a risk because we haven't seen him in a regular season game, is Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty's matchup here, the Patriots were 26th against running backs. They were 22nd against the rush. And I just think on paper, Ashton Genty has a ton of potential. And from my understanding, they are planning on using him like a workhorse. So if he's ready to go right out the gate, then I think I'm willing to put him in my lineup this week. The other one I really like is Devon Achane. He proved last year that he's a stud. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I liked him a lot last year. It seemed like he got injured there, I'm pretty sure, for a while. But I know he just got injured here recently, but it looks like he's going to play in this game. I can see now that the questionable tag is off of him. So it's pretty much a locked and loaded deal. I think that he's going to play. But, double check, be safe. I don't want to steer you guys wrong. But the Colts ranked 22nd against the running back, 26th against the pass, and 23rd against the rush. I just know last year they used Devon Achane quite a bit in a few games, and I think he's going to tear it apart. week 1. I really do. I heard a lot of people talking about Jonathan Taylor. They think he's going to do good. I really don't care to look at the matchup. I'm going to for you guys. Yeah, 12th against the running back, 8th against the rush. I don't love the matchup, but they can use him again like an animal, and he can just continue to run down people's throats. So I'm not sure that the matchup would set me back from playing him, but he's not one of my favorite running backs this week. A lot of people talking about Chase Brown, and they think this week that he's going to just tear it up. I'm not confident in that. This is showing Cleveland last year was 5th against the running back, 21st against the rush, though. Let's see what he did. 13.9 points in Week 16 against Cleveland. 7.3 in Week 7. I think people might be looking at his pass catching ability as well, as he can do that. I don't love the matchup here this week, but you guys can tell me what you think in the comments if you want. Alvin Kamara, he's my guy. I've always liked Alvin Kamara. I'm not sure that their team is going to do anything this year that would be considered good, but Alvin Kamara is just an outstanding athlete, incredible balance, can bounce off tackles. And his matchup this week, Arizona ranks 25th against the running back, 20th against the rush, and 15th against the pass, because you want to talk about a pass catching back. Alvin Kamara can do it all. And he really can. And look how cheap he is. There's so many cheap options this week, with it being week 1. He's $6,300. That's his salary for this week. So I think Alvin Kamara could be a great pick. The only thing that you have to think about there is the team around him. Another one that's cheap, James Conner, $6,100 is his salary cap. And that's going up against, on the other side of the ball, or from Alvin Kamara, you got James Conner, 2 decent running back. James Conner kind of, I feel like snuck up on me. I feel like he had tons of good games last year that I was not necessarily paying attention to or focusing on, but he had plenty of good games last year. The Saints are 27th against the running back, or they were last year. They were 28th against the pass and 30th against the rush. I think James Conner could tear it up this week. I really do. The one that I really like as well is Chuba Hubbard. I think I'm going to put Chuba in my lineup. He had a 35.5 point game last year, 28 point game, 30 point game. He had some games. And this matchup, Jaguars were 31st against the running back, 24th against the rush, 32nd against the pass. And Chuba, he can work like an animal too. He can work like a workhorse. I mean, they can just run him, and he keeps up with it. Kemba Walker, he's one that I like as well. I've liked him for a few years now. He only had 3 or 4 games last year that were probably pretty solid, it looks like, but over the course of a few years, he's had some really good games. And San Francisco, it said, was ranked 30th against the running back position, 18th against the rush. If we want to look at last year, because they did play each other, he got 13.9 points in Week 11 and 20.9 points in Week 6. So he put up some points against them in Week 6. I'd be happy with that 20 points. Just looking down I'm going to look over Pollard. I'm going to look over RJ Harvey for my Broncos. Excited to see what he can do. But I'm really excited that J.K. Dobbins is there because Ohio State is my college team. Let's see, Tyrone Tracy Jr. I think he could do good this week. I think he's set up in a good spot. Washington ranked 24th against the running back, 31st against the rush. And I do think that he's a good back. It hasn't always showed, but he's also playing on the Giants that haven't seemed to be the greatest team in the last few years. But and now that Danny Dimes is gone, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they'll do. But Danny Dimes can play sometimes. Not always, it seems like, but sometimes he can play. Okay, looking at what he did against Washington last year, 7.9 points in the second game. The first game, 0.2. I'm not sure he was even starting in that game. To be real honest with you. But I think he can do good this week. I want to look at J.K. Dobbins just because I like him. I'm not going to. Look, they got Travion Henderson listed right below him. Okay, Etienne. Etienne has a great spot here. Yeah, Panthers are ranked 32nd, or they were ranked 32nd against the rush. I'm sorry, against the rush as well, but against the running back, they were 25th against the pass. Etienne just looks like he's in a fantastic spot here. I just don't know how confident I am in him looking at that average 8.7 fantasy points. And Jacksonville loves to pass the ball, so take that for what you want it to be. I am going to look at Isaac Guerendo, trying to remember how to pronounce his name correctly. I'm looking at him because I'm pretty sure we just got news, and I'm going to look again right now, that Christian McCaffrey is most likely not going to play. Who was listed as questionable for Sunday's game, Seattle said Friday that he feels great and is preparing to suit up week 1. Okay, this is not what I heard. Let's see. This is not what I heard. This is looking like Christian McCaffrey is going to suit up. You're going to want to check back in on that come Sunday, because I'm not certain he'll play. I had heard that he was not going to play, but I guess just circle back to that and take a gander. But so if he does, you certainly are not going to want to play Guerendo. But if he doesn't play, that's someone you could think about for sure. Scrolling down here, guys, a little bit farther down, I'm not seeing a whole lot of people that are worth throwing in there. There's a few, maybe matchup. There's really not. I'm not seeing anybody else that I would want to put down there. I'm going to take a look at the wide receivers now. Jamar Chase, if you want to look at what he did against Cleveland, week 16 of last year, 22.4 points. We know he's a stud. I'm not sure I even need to break him down. Week 7, he got 17.6 points against Cleveland. His matchup, Cleveland again, was 26th against the wide receiver and 14th against the pass, but it's Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, so they're going to get points. they're going to get fantasy points. Another incredible athlete, Puka Nakua. Um, don't totally love his matchup here. They're 15th. I'm sorry, the Texans were 15th against the wide receiver. And they were 6th against the pass. I don't love the matchup, but Puka Nakua is probably going to get a lot of volume, a lot of targets, I would imagine, because he always does. Same thing. I would expect Nico Collins too, but I don't love the matchup at all. I'm kind of scrolling past these guys because I just don't love their matchups. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be extremely chalky. People are really raving on him, and rightly so. Carolina was ranked 23rd against the wide receiver, 25th against the pass, 32nd against the rush. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get a lot of points in this game. And I say a lot. I feel like he'll get. He averaged 17.4. I think it's safe to say he'll most likely get 20 points and higher in this game. But, that's assuming everything goes the way that you would want it to or that I would want it to. I'm probably not going to play him just because he's so chalky, because so many other people are going to be playing him. Tyreek Hill, on paper, he looks great here, and I already told you about Tua, so I don't see any reason why you shouldn't play Tyreek Hill here. Other than maybe, he's coming in off an injury, I believe. I don't think it was super serious, but he has been hurt. He's had an oblique injury. Missed most practices in the entire preseason is what it's looking like. I mean, you could read all this. I'm not going to take the time to finish reading it because you probably don't want to listen to me forever. But I think Tyreek Hill could do decent in this game. I think coming in off the oblique, I don't expect him to do great, especially with Achane in the game who can carry the load. But Tyreek Hill, he's going to catch passes if he's playing. He's just most likely he's going to be. But Waddle's a good player too, so they don't necessarily need to play Tyreek, I don't think, in this spot against the Colts. But Mike Evans, I already told you what I think Baker Mayfield's going to do. So Micah Evans is his guy. You put those guys together, I think it's going to be gold this week. I'm not even going to look. Okay, I said I'm not going to. I'm going to. The Falcons ranked 30th against the wide receiver and 24th against the pass. And what I meant by going to, I meant I wasn't going to look at his breakdown or at his matchup, but I decided I would. On the other side of that game, you have Atlanta, who's got Drake London. Drake London, when they played Tampa Bay last year, let's see, which week was it here? Week 8, he only got 7.4 points. But in week 5, he got 36.4. So if he could come anywhere close to that in this game, that would be enough to really boost your team. Let's see. Tampa Bay was 28th against the wide receiver. They were 30th against the pass. And like I said, I believe I said earlier, they were third against the rush. So Atlanta's going to want to pass in this game. And Drake London would be a way to do it. As long as he plays, I think he was injured, and we'll see in a second. But Darnell Mooney, I think, for salary reasons, I think I want to play him a little bit. You have Higgins. Higgins in week 16 against Cleveland last year had 19.8 points. The game before that, he had 18.2 points in week 7. Higgins is a solid player. I personally think he could go play as a number one wide receiver on a team that would need him. I already showed you the breakdown with Jamar Chase. I don't really need, you can see it on the screen right now, but I think T. Higgins would be a good player this week to play. I will say I didn't show you the games from last year that Mike Evans had against Atlanta, but let's look at that real quick. He had a 23.2 point game in week 5, and just looking back over, I'm trying to remember if he played both games or if he was hurt. It seems like he was hurt, maybe. Just gonna triple check here. Yeah, I think he was hurt in that other game. If you guys see it, then well, then good for you. I guess I'm not seeing it. He must have been injured in that other game, but we know what he can do, what he's capable of. Some of these other players that I think you could play Wilson, you could play McLaren, you could play Adams. I don't love their matchups here, but any one of them could just pop off. Excuse me. And who else do we have here, guys? Waddle. Like I said, Waddle could be interesting. He could be a play if you don't expect Tyreek Hill to get a lot of usage because he's had that oblique injury. Then Waddle could be an interesting pick here. Could get a lot of extra targets. Marvin Harrison Jr. absolutely set up on paper this week. The Saints were 25th against the wide receiver, 30th against the rush, and 28th against the pass. He only averaged 12 points per game, fantasy points per game last year. He's in a good spot this week. I expect him, I would say, to get 20 points. I'll just throw it out there. If not, I think he'll at least be double digits. I can't prove that. There's no way of me proving that, but outside of an injury or something, I don't see him not getting double digits this week. I did want to show you guys Jaden Reed. There's some news on him. He's listed as questionable. But I think just trying to read over this. I think he's a game time decision at this point. The Lions ranked 31st against wide receiver and 31st against the pass. I'm just looking at what Jaden Reed did last year against Detroit. He got 0 points in week 14. He got 19.3 in week 9. So I'm not sure. It's got it listed as 0 points on here, so I'm assuming he played. I don't know if he got hurt that week, but he didn't get any points. So, but he's set up with a good matchup. But so are the other receivers for the Packers. So there's other options there. I think he could go with Cooper Kupp in Seattle. Doesn't look like I love the matchup, but Cooper Kupp, if they use him like he was used in Los Angeles, just could be a good player against San Francisco because they're going to need somebody. However, it was Kemba Walker that we looked at that I liked the matchup for. So, Deebo Samuel, I've heard, I believe from the Stochastic guys, I heard that they're going to be using him as a goal line back most likely. Now McMillan's in an excellent spot here because Adam Thielen is hurt. Jaguars 29th against the pass last year, 32nd against the wide receiver, 32nd against the pass. McMillan is set up to really own the moment this week, at least on paper, because Coker is also out. Coker is also hurt. He's on the IR, I believe, for 4 to 6 weeks. So they're going to rely heavily on McMillan, I think, this week, and the other would be Leggett. McMillan and Leggett, I believe, would be great. And really, if we want to look at it, there's probably going to be a third stringer there that you're going to have to look at. Yep, you got Moore down there, who would be cheap, $3,000 for your salary cap. But there's a lot of cheap salary cap players this week. Just looking back, now I'm gotta refine my place here. McMillan, yep. Let's see. Darnell Mooney, guys, he was the one that I'm really looking at, because when they played Tampa Bay last year, in week 8 he got 18.6 points, which is pretty decent from your number 2 receiver. In week 5 he got 34.5. So if he plays, either him or Drake London, either one or both of them would be good plays this week. However, I will say he is a game time decision, it looks like. Mooney's shoulder is questionable for Sunday's game against Tampa Bay, with Atlanta coach Raheem Morris expecting the wideout to be a game time decision. So you take that for what it is. If you want to take the risk, it could be worth taking, because he could have a dynamite game in this game. The other guy I wanted to look at was Matthew Golden. Nothing to break down because he's a new guy. We're talking rookie, but he's set up in a good position, and I have heard nothing but good things about him. So I think he could do great this week as well. Are there any guys I care to look at down here? There certainly are. Emeka Egbuka. Played for my Buckeyes. Outstanding player, but he's going to be playing more right off the bat because Chris Goddard is out. And yeah. So, and I'm saying Chris Goddard. I've said that twice now. I'm talking about Chris Godwin, you guys. I'm tired. Please cut me some slack. Yes, Chris Godwin. Anyone else down here on the wide receivers that we want to look at? It's really not. I'm not seeing anybody else that I want to look at. But again, my apologies, guys. Chris Godwin, it really has been a long day for me. I am tired, but I want to get this video up for you guys, so I apologize for the mistake. If anyone's still watching this, or watching this to begin with. Tight ends won't take long. I like Trey McBride. He was outstanding last year. He'll be outstanding again. I kind of want to look at what George Kittle did against Seattle last year. I'm pretty sure it wasn't super significant. It was significant. 22.8 points against Seattle in week 6. I'd say that's significant from a tight end. So doesn't look like he played the second game unless I overlooked it. The guy that I'm going to be playing most likely is Njoku. If you want to see what he did against Cincinnati in week 7, 23.6 points. Let's see here. Week 16, 14.6 points. His matchup, the Bengals are 32nd, the worst in the league against tight ends. and it's David Njoku. I think he's an excellent pick. 22nd against the pass, the Bengals are. This guy right here, Tyler Warren, I have heard nothing but good things about him, and it sounds like he's going to be used a lot and right off of the bat. So we're going to have to weigh that out. We're going to have to see. I'm not going to play him week 1. I don't trust that necessarily. Kyle Pitts, Sr., last year against Tampa Bay, what did he do? He put up 25.1 points in week 8. In week 5, 15.8. So he's a solid pick too. Maybe even as a flex option. If you wanted to play 2 tight ends or something. Tampa Bay was 25th against the tight end, 30th against the pass. So he's definitely worth looking at. Hunter Henry, I think, could be good here. Noah Fant, not sure how much they'll be throwing to their tight ends in Cincinnati, in Cleveland, but it's Cincinnati. Not sure how much they'll be throwing to him, but I think Gesicki would both be good options. You have Dalton Schultz, could be a good play here, on paper anyways, matchup-wise. Maybe even a Tyler Higbee. I'm seeing a lot of tight ends here, guys, that you could play. The one that I really was looking forward to, and he's actually hurt, was Darren Waller. I was wanting to play Darren Waller, but he's out, guys. Not going to be able to play him. Which stinks because I actually had him in my lineup. I'm going to have to take him out. But that is what it is. So you have your flex option. Just look over defense real quick, and I'll wrap this up. You have my Broncos. My Broncos, I think, on paper, they're set to just absolutely destroy Tennessee defensively. And I think that's what's going to happen. I really do. The Commanders have a good matchup, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're going to do super great against New York. See, last year they got 4 points against them. And 4 points both games they played against New York last year. So I don't expect them to do great. Cincinnati's got a great matchup, but I don't trust their defense at all. I mean, at all. So I guess what I'm saying is right now I've got the Broncos, maybe the Rams, maybe. I think the Steelers could be good over at the Jets, because the Steelers just seem to have a strong defense overall anyways. Guys, I'm seeing good matchups, but I don't trust them because I just don't see too many good defenses down here. At least not ones that I like that much. Seattle, 7.9 fantasy points on average, but they're playing San Francisco. I'll be honest with you guys. The one that I trust this week is the Broncos. I guess I'm going to have to see these defenses, man. They're going to have to prove some stuff to me this year. But thankfully, my Broncos have a good defense this year. And I guess the last thing I'll do for you guys is I'll break down. I'm just going to put up just a little bit of a lineup maybe that I'll play. I like Achane. I like Genty. I like Chase. Man, that salary cap's starting to go down quite a bit, though. Who else did I really liked Mike Evans, but I'm going to have to leave him out because of salary cap. I think I'm going to go down, and we'll pretend that Mooney's going to play. I'll risk that. Who else do I want here, guys? maybe well, you got a McMillan. We need someone cheap, so I'm just gonna go down to that. I'm gonna go down to. I've already passed. I'm gonna go to Matthew or yes, Matthew Golden. Let's try him out. Let's see what he does this week. David Njoku, if I have enough in there. That would leave me 4,000. So guys, here's a lineup that I would like. It might even play, but I won't give away my flex just to keep my lineup my own. But this is a team I might play. So, anyways, guys, I apologize that this took so long, and also that it took so long to get up. And I apologize for any mistakes. I'm not going to take the time to edit this whole thing at all because it's already late and I'm super tired. But anyways, hopefully you've enjoyed watching it, at least somewhat, or at least enjoyed listening to a monotone voice. Maybe it put you to sleep. I don't know. But thanks for watching, guys. I will see you for the next one. Figuratively speaking, I will see you for the Thursday night game. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Actually, maybe I might cover the Sunday night game as well. The Sunday night showdown. Another showdown. Anyways, thanks, guys.